What's up, MegaCapitalG here, looking at the first spell revealed for the Magibullet archetype, and this is actually a really good card. If you guys don't know, the Magibullets are a brand new archetype that are going to be released in Spirit Warriors alongside the new 6 Samurai supports, and this archetype is very unique in the sense that it allows you to use all of its spells and traps, all of the archetypes, theme spell and traps from your hand, and it allows you to do it during your opponent's turn, which is incredibly good because if you guys have ever played like Phantasms, being able to use those Phantasm trap cards from your hand without having to commit them on the field is just one of the best things about the deck. But that deck even has to keep Pacifist on the field. This deck doesn't have any restriction, and so far it's built into every single monster. So, you know, my first thought was, as long as the archetype gets some decent traps and some decent quick plays, it could definitely be a playable deck, and the first one so far looks pretty promising. So let me go ahead and read the card to you. By the way, as soon as I saw this artwork, maybe I just have a dark mind, but, you know, I see the guy with the sniper rifle and I'm just like, you know, rip Harambe, because clearly this card is going to take him out. Anyways, this is Magibullet Never-Endorphin, which I believe is, I don't know if that's like a drug reference or what. So maybe that's a dart gun and it's not actually, you know, firing bullets. I have no idea. Quick play spell, which is what I was hoping. I don't think that this archetype is going to have a lot of normal spells. Like maybe they'll get a field spell, but I imagine that most of their spells are going to be quick play because they need to be able to activate them during both turns. So the first thing it says is you can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn, so it is that hard once per turn. Target one face-up Magibullet monster you control. Its attack and defense becomes double its original attack and defense until the end of the turn. The targeted monster cannot attack directly the turn you activate this card. So I think this card is pretty decent, especially for a starter spell, and it's just a really practical effect. So far, the Magibullet monsters we know, they all have, I would say, adequate stat lines. The level 8, the boss monster, it's 25. That's pretty decent, being able to crank them up to like 5,000. There shouldn't be many things in the game. Even a Utopia, the lightning would just crash at that point, but just about everything else he's going to be able to get over in battle relatively easy. And then you have Casper, which is 1,200, so he can go to 2,400. So I think that if this is the route Konami's going to go with this archetype, I definitely see it being playable if all the spells and traps are just at least decent. Maybe they get a Fiendish Chain, maybe they get a Regeki Break. Actually, I'm just copying Phantasms at this point, but you know, just give them simple one-for-one cards like the Paleozoics have, and I think that they'll be perfectly fine. And then I'll go ahead and talk about this other card that we have called Soldier Dragon. This is actually from something different. This is from Circuit Break. It's honestly not that interesting of a card, so I figured I'm not going to make a separate video about it. Might as well just kind of throw them together. As soon as I saw the card, I don't know how many of you guys are like super old school players, but as soon as I saw the card, I immediately thought of Troop Dragon from Legacy of Darkness, I believe. If I'm wrong about that, I'm going to be shocked. I'm pretty sure Troop Dragon came out in Legacy of Darkness. Like, just look at Troop Dragon and look at Soldier Dragon. Like, the artworks are almost identical. Clearly, they're part of like the same army, and you know, it has basically like the same stat line and the same level. So I was like, yeah, this must be something similar to Troop Dragon. It's called Soldier Dragon. It is a different attribute. It is Earth attribute. It's Dragon, of course. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon one level 2 or lower dragon type monster from your deck. Okay, this is really disappointing because, in my opinion, this is worse than the original Troop Dragon. And the thing about this card is, guys, this card came out when I was a teenager. Like, Troop Dragon is, I don't know, maybe 15, 14 years old now, probably about 15 years old. It's a really fucking old card, somewhere between 15 and 14 years old. And the reason Troop Dragon is better, in my opinion, is because Troop Dragon is more practical. Troop Dragon is, if it gets destroyed in battle, you summon another Troop Dragon from your deck. So it's just like, you know, one of the Mystic Tomato type, people call them recruiter type cards. This card, I mean, it doesn't have to be destroyed, but it is completely dependent on your opponent. You have to wait for them to activate a card or effect. And my big takeaway from this card is, I mean, yeah, it has a long list of targets. Like, these are all the targets that I guess YG organization dug up. But the thing is, what do you do when you get that target? Like, you know, chances are, since it's a level 2 dragon that you're getting from your deck, it's probably going to be a very puny monster. What do you do with that monster at that point? Like, I don't expect that monster to survive the turn. So really, what is the benefit? At least with Troop Dragon, if it died, it will replace itself, and then hopefully you wouldn't have to take any damage, or maybe you'd get left with one and you could use it during your next turn for some other, you know, for some other reason or something like that. With Soldier Dragon, I just don't see anything that stops your opponent from killing both of them. And this is somewhat like Pacifist with the activation condition, where Pacifist works just like this. If your opponent activates a card or effect, then you get to summon a token. The difference is, number one, that token that Pacifist gets, it's like 2,000 attack, so it can actually do some work. Number two, you get to search for another card for free. You get one of your Phantasm spells or traps, so it's like you end up going +2, where this card just, you know, I guess you go plus, but it doesn't seem like a very meaningful plus. Like, I mean, if you guys can think of some ways with this monsters, I mean, it can summon Troop Dragon, which is cool, I guess, but who the fuck is playing Troop Dragon in 2017? Troop Dragon is a card that was good in like 2003, 2004, and ain't nobody's trying to play that now. So if you guys can think of any reasons to run Soldier Dragon, please tell me. Maybe if it was like a tuner and it let you synchro during your opponent's turn, that would have been a lot better, because maybe you go into like some Herald of Perfection plays, or not Herald of Perfection, Herald of the Arc Light plays or something like that. That could have been kind of neat, but I don't know. I just think that this card was, to me, it just seems like it's tugging on a nostalgia cape, and it's just supposed to be an homage to Troop Dragon, but I don't really think it's that good. Anyways, thank you guys for watching as always. What do you guys think so far? First impressions of the Magibullet archetype. I probably mispronounced that again, but I think they're pretty cool. Soldier Dragon, not so much. Anyways, thank you guys for watching as always. Subscribe if you have not already.